welcome to our second podcast. I'm Lisa, also known as Talia Levid.
Hi, I'm Carol, and you know me under the name of Kodaleya.
And I'm Charles Jackson, also known as Stand For Us, from DeviantArt on Underground Warriors.
And welcome.
Yes, welcome. We really appreciate all the support we've received from our first cast, and we're happy to be back on our second show.
Yeah.
Just to recap, we'll still be bringing you the Roar of the Month, our discussion each time, and we'll highlight some talented fan artists and fan fiction writers, as well as interview a big Gargoyles contributor to our fandom. If you're a fan artist or a fan writer or just a giant fan in general and you want to be interviewed for our upcoming shows, feel free to send us a message. We're still out on Facebook, we're on DeviantArt, we're on Twitter, and now we're actually on Tumblr too. We just got that started this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every links will be on the website as usual, so you can find it there.
Mm-hmm. And then, as always, feel free to spread the word about our podcast because we can't unite the fans without you.
Well done. Well said.
And anybody who goes on my Gargoyles Underground website, a big associate, me, of course, being part of the show, other than supporting my group, I support this as well. You can definitely, when you get there, feel free to also look into the Gargoyles Reawakening group as well. Mm-hmm. Because my whole purpose originally with my own group was to do what this group does in Reawakening. Reunite the fans, both new and old, and just enjoy online together the fandom, both canon and original character based. To continue where the Gargoyles Gathering Convention left off. So please, by all means, everybody, enjoy both places and spread the word as far and wide and as loud as you can.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
Just make sure it's not too loud in deep space so you get the space swan's attention. You don't want that mess get to happen.
So our Roar of the Month this month, we decided to talk about some of the villains.
Because we know that they are a huge part of the show.
Absolutely. And we didn't want it to be a popularity contest. We're not talking about who your favorite villain is. It's more about the categories that these villains fall into, and some of them go into multiple categories, but we tried to narrow it down a little bit. And this kind of started with a discussion between us. We were trying to figure out where the villains fall in the realm of gargoyles. We've seen how some people don't consider Macbeth a villain, or some people prefer to think of like Oberon as his own entity. And so we just decided to have a little conversation about which categories we thought the different villains belonged in.
Mm-hmm. Where to put them.
Yeah. And so the first category that we came up with are the perpetual antagonists. These are our overall bad guys. So you see them multiple times, and we decided that the two who earned this honor were Demona and Xanatos.
Obviously,
yes.
Yeah. Who else?
And so, with Demona, she's so complex, but she covers such a broad range of emotion in her actions.
I agree.
Yeah. She's very tragic, is the unfortunate side of her. She's very vengeful and, very in the moment, and she allows herself to almost be somebody's pawn at the same time. She's been the apprentice to the Archmage, and he used her over and over again. She
always thought she was in her right. She was doing the right thing.
She is the perfect example of the idiom, you yourself are your worst enemy.
Right.
Her own hatred, her own passion of rage and vengeance and just anger. It's just so powerfully self-feeding and perpetuating. It's unbelievable how, well, it makes me wonder if she ever is ever insane, but she does show moments when she's not letting it control her. She can be a sane, wonderful person, but however, she lets that become her, unfortunately.
Well, and she almost has a vulnerability to her. Even with all the death and mayhem and other general chaos that she's caused, she still has that need to sometimes want to be accepted. The fact that her password was alone, she does have feelings for Angela, even though she's not quite able to come to terms with them, maybe. I think it's very conflicting for her.
And as we once said, she's just beyond redemption. She's done so much wrong and so much pain that anything she can do, and it's really tragic because, well, she's a lost soul. Mm-hmm. She can't come back and with flowers and hey, I'm good again.
Could you see her showing up with flowers and chocolates?
Possible.
I'm sorry.
It would take forever, probably as long as her immortality has been so far, of all the carnage and evils that she committed to try to make up for it. But she does have the potential for redemption. It's just so great. It will be a Herculean effort to even ever to get just to begin to say I'm sorry. And she doesn't recognize that too. She just knows a life of pointing fingers and vengeance.
And then on the other hand, we have Xanatos, who basically has everything going for him. I mean, he's rich, he's powerful, he's good looking.
The anti-Tony Stark.
He's totally he's Tony Stark. Minus the drinking problem.
Maybe we don't know something.
That's true.
Maybe there's something we don't know.
In the cartoon, they probably couldn't show that.
I guess.
But I mean, he's very much in control of his fate. I mean, so much so that he was able to go back in time and start his own fortune. And then...
Totally in control. Yeah, he likes to be in control.
He has almost a god complex.
He managed to be in control all the time.
He wants to achieve immortality. He wants to be in control of everything, rule everything, while thinking at the same time, without being the typical megalomaniac. And he's so confident that everything is destined for him. His ego is unparalleled to that of even some of the greatest dictators.
And, until Alex is born, that need is almost his undoing a few times. I mean, could you imagine if he had dumped himself in the cauldron of life, or, if one of his, or if one of his schemes didn't quite go the way he needed it to. I mean...
So he quite changed a lot after Alex.
He starts to realize that his ambitions
gave him another purpose.
Yep. And I just like how he enjoys everything, even if he, even if his plan doesn't go the way he wants it to, he just writes it off and he moves on to the next one, and it's like, oh, whatever.
B, C,
dirt under the rug, so...
He didn't even mind buying a whole goddamn castle, piece by piece, travel across the ocean, and build it on top of a skyscraper. Hell, he just said, just pay a man enough and you'll walk through hell barefoot.
Well, and even...
Yeah. And he said it with such confidence.
With panache.
Exactly.
And even when he goes up against the gargoyles, he never quite does it with this vengefulness. It's more like a test, can he beat them? Can he find out where they're living? Can he... rule over them the way he wants to. It's more of a game to him than a thirst to dominate them, even though I think in the end he kind of wanted to.
He wanted to use them as a tool, but the only extent that, when he was working with them in the very beginning, that they can only go so far to the point where they will realize that he was using them, or they can only accomplish so much before he realized that he had to move on to other means which was the Steel Clan.
Mm-hmm.
And he likes to feel like, like a lion tamer. Just, he has this powerful thing in his hand, the gargoyles, and just want to prove that he can do them, make them.
I love that analogy. That summarizes him almost perfectly.
In my opinion.
I think it does fit.
And in that case, our next category, you can't talk about the villains without talking about the hunters. The hunters started with Gilcomgain. He became the first hunter officially, and then it moved through the bloodline of the Canmores. We get to see the three Canmores, Jason, Robin, and John, but this has been going on for centuries, going down through each bloodline.
A mirror example of Damona's hatred, but only on a human being in a way, but continuing bloodline. Whereas there's somebody else that kind of reflects that. However, though, he tries to mediate. Where here, it's the same thing, but it's like a human living version of Damona's hate, always perpetuating one generation after another.
Well, I always thought it was
reminding her and feeling in turn her own hatred and thus vengeance and continuing her madness.
Well, when you think about it, I mean, their hatred is the same. I mean, they hate without even stopping to think about their actions. It's just this snowball effect. It started back in the 10th century, and it just snowballed into, modern times, and each generation picks it up. And, that's what Damona strives for. She wants each generation of the gargoyles to hate the humans. Well, these are humans who will unconditionally hate the gargoyles. Mm-hmm. And so
anything in their way, they
everybody is revenging the Revenger, and it's never ending.
Right.
It can't end.
It's just
unless everybody is dead.
It's just a vicious cycle of hate.
Or related to it. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Oh, you're related to her, or you're related to him. Die. Just as you can see that their main target is affected by it, or at least they feel like they get at least some bit of pleasure, but not yet accomplishing what they truly go after. It's just a symbiotic relationship of destruction and death.
And I like the fact that the Canmore siblings are reacting to this heritage in different ways. There's the one who accepts it blindly. There's the one who is questioning it, and it's really interesting to see how all the possibilities. And the fact that this hatred heritage is something that corresponds in some points to the Middle East fight. That nobody remembers maybe
really
who starts, but is it relevant who starts? And it never ends, and you can't find any solution or any good solution.
Well, right. I mean,
to
the
problem
started so long ago that you almost can't find out how to solve it or resolve it, I suppose.
I think we can maybe talk about the next categories now, unless you have anything to say.
No, I don't. Yeah.
Again?
Do you?
Well, no. I think we're okay.
All right. Our next category then are the Greyish villains, and we did put 3 into this category. I mean, it's easy to put more. We had Renard, Fox's father, and then we had Dingo in there as well. I mean, everybody can see the path of redemption that he takes. He starts out as like
Macbeth,
the mercenary. Yeah, and Macbeth was our big one because he is a villain, but it's a different type of villain, I think. He's
always meant to do good, but because of Damona screwed him over so bad that he wants vengeance against her and those related to her. Like I said, just like what happened with the Canmores, he's suffering the same way, but he not so much originally was driven by hate. He was originally an ally to Demona, understand her disposition. But Demona, of course, knowing nothing but how to just piss everyone off and making excuses to everything that must be destroyed and killed because of her endless thirst for hate, that he too becomes almost consumed by it. But eventually, he learns from his own that from the start that he should not become what she is. He will become no better than she is.
Well, and he's driven more by her betrayal. When you think about
exactly
it, I mean,
what I meant by
yeah,
how he was.
So he's very
by her.
Mm-hmm. He's very vengeful at first, but I think after a while he just wants everything to end. He doesn't. He's done some horrible things, and he's just tired. You know, he wants it to be over. So that's why he's more of a gray villain.
Mm-hmm. And I like the fact that he knows when he's beaten, when he's down, when he had to accept Arthur as his king.
He did.
Well,
he did. He conceded.
Like something that Demona would never, in her character, it's not
understand and recognize
a possibility.
Exactly.
She would
right.
no.
Right.
Yeah, and even if he could have been the king they were talking about, well, he realized he wasn't, and he accepted.
Yeah, he had that concession of power, and he understood that Arthur was the one destined to be.
He has a sense of loyalty and chivalry somehow.
Mm-hmm. And to me, that's almost what makes him the gray villain, because you do see those qualities in him, and then you turn around and see him capture Broadway, you know, or something along that line.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he can do bad things too. He can. So maybe we can talk about the next categories.
The next one was the Immortal, so they don't care.
That's pretty summing up.
They can do whatever
everything.
You're my little pets.
Dance puppets, dance.
Exactly.
But we put Oberon in there, of course, because how can you talk about Immortal without Oberon and his children? Of course, we put the Weird Sisters in there because they really like to get involved with things that maybe they shouldn't. And then we have Charles's favorite of the Illuminati.
Illuminati.
The least favorite and the favorite. All in one box. So yeah, Weird Sisters, I really like the fact that there's one entity in 3 bodies, in 3 even alike bodies. But I really like these 3-headed characters.
Yeah.
They're tricksters, but without a sense of humor. Whereas Punk, she has a sense of humor.
They never laugh.
She knows when to joke around and have fun.
I never saw laughing. Now you mentioned it, I never saw them laughing.
They're sadistic.
And they represent.
Maybe they don't know how.
In triple form.
Yeah, you liked it.
They're the
3 better than 1.
They're the trifecta of. Well, I don't even know how you would describe them. There's so many different things. Many shapes. And they represent so much, you know, even mythologically. They're, you know, the 3 crones and the 3...
Yep. I think they were Shakespearean.
I think so.
Yes.
In the Macbeth play. Yep, in Macbeth.
There were the 3...
Nightmare.
The 3 crones, or witches.
3 crones or witches.
Mm-hmm.
3 wicked sisters, I think it was, were Weird Sisters themselves. I was trying to remember reading back in high school how they were titled.
Were they in the Shakespeare play? Like, I know the title in French, but I can't find it in English. Like Midsummer Dream or something like that. With Oberon.
No, they were in Macbeth. They were
maybe
definitely in Macbeth. They were featured in Macbeth.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Not sure if it also
Okay.
in Midsummer Night's Dream, but definitely Puck appeared from there
Yeah.
as
Oberon
well. Yes,
too.
there
and
too.
Titania.
So,
That poem, that story purely introduces the Fae by Shakespeare.
Yeah, we'll be doing a Shakespeare Roar of the Month eventually. Yes.
I think, yeah.
I was going
I
to
should
say I'm
start
going to have to
reading
brush up on
Shakespeare
a few
then.
things.
Me too.
That or we'll need some help from the audience. I'm not sure.
Maybe, yeah. Oh, by the way, now you mentioned it, maybe we could just invite our audience to participate, just to tell us on the Facebook page or on the Tumblr page or any way they want, maybe how or where they could put some of the characters in which categories. So if you hear us, just feel free to do so.
Yeah, we want
Comment back.
We want some hearty discussion. We don't want fighting. We want discussion.
The forums are all open for you. We're begging for attention.
Well, now we sound desperate.
Oh, not that bad. Yeah, but not this. Do you want to say something about the Illuminati, or are we
I
talking
thought
about
we
the next?
yet to still talk about Oberon and then the Illuminati.
No, Illuminati
Oh,
is
we cannot.
Well, the Illuminati is
Please.
the actual human, the earthly conspiracy theory brought to life element of the Gargoyles universe, where unlike the gods, they have their divine hand in controlling anything, or Fae like divine beings such as the Weird Sisters. Here is actually a human-controlled organization that hides within shadows that act like they have a godly power, whereas they manipulate the human world how they see fit to their own bidding.
The human controlling
Exactly.
humans.
Yeah, and they have
Yeah.
their hands in many
Everything.
of the many of the
Everything.
scenarios in the show.
Their intentions are both good and bad. They do things they feel that set balance to the world where they would see both benefit for themselves as well as the rest of humanity, and they would do things they see they can both to do justice for them both themselves and the world, even if there's negative consequences. They seek to try to get some kind of benefit both ways. No matter what, the ends justify the means, and they'll do whatever they can to achieve it.
And I really like this organization because it's really particular, like there are 3 threes, 4 fours, and I don't know how many levels there are, but it's really, really interesting and
I think they go up
intelligent.
to 36, so there's 36 36s. Is that how it works?
I believe so, yes.
Yes.
It's very clever.
Yes, I think it
so they can also confuse anybody
I thought they
who
were
tries
like
to penetrate.
on 186.
Brilliant, because it helps
More.
confuse and detract anybody who tries to penetrate and observe the Illuminati.
It's
just like what Bluestone
giant
tried to do.
squid, like a Hydra, you cut a head and there are two
Trademark
rows
Marvel
back.
Comics.
So, yeah.
Be careful, you don't want Marvel to start getting angry. They do work with Disney now. He said Hydra. This is a terrorist organization in the Marvel Comics.
She was talking about the mythological creature.
I know that too as well, but
Yeah.
Marvel it does work with Disney.
We're not
so
saying
I'm being
anything about
cautious.
Marvel.
I know, but you never know.
No,
Somebody
I
out there is
didn't.
like, hey, they're talking about Marvel.
Marvel, we like you. Disney, we like you. We're moving on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
PM. Just making sure.
And from that point, we'll go on to our psychopaths.
Yes.
The beloved psychopath.
Your mental capacities now.
And topping the list with that category, we have Jacqueline Hyena, because it just doesn't get any more messed up than those two.
Oh yeah.
They make bloodbaths so much fun.
Well, and they're happy to do it. And then
The
we
first time
have
too in a cartoon that I can actually have a character has a twisted kink and loves to show it too. That just always gives me the chills about me.
Yeah, I feel like they are just here to be kicked. Just there. Their purpose is to be kicked.
So you get really excited when they get beat up, huh?
Oh, yeah.
And then we have Wolf and Hakon because, again, the bloodline that ties them. Hakon was clearly more of a conqueror, but I think he was a little psychopath in his own right. And then
pure savage. Exactly.
And Wolf has taken the mercenary line of business a little too far. We also put in
That's
Thalog.
an understatement.
Which one, Thalog or Wolf?
No, Wolf.
Thalog.
Thalog, he's a true monster through and through. What the hell was Xanatos thinking?
Well, he got what he wanted. He received an intelligent, bloodthirsty gargoyle. He just couldn't control it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thalog almost deserves his own category.
He's like borderline Antichrist.
Yeah,
He's just that evil. Even Xanatos fears him. I mean, if Xanatos fears him, you know.
It could be on his
This
resume,
guy
Even Xanatos fears me.
You should have a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
What was that? What did that say?
Even Xanatos fears me. I'm so badass, even Xanatos fears me. That's what it should say.
A monster.
That would be the motto. That would be the motto of the podcast,
Then we'll move on to Anton Sevarius, who, in his own right, is a psychopath. The
animated
mad scientist
Dr.
psychopath.
Mengelev. Joseph Mengelev.
But the fact that he's voiced by Tim Curry makes him charming.
You devil with charm,
look
yeah.
like him.
The sick little twisted little devil who likes to play with body parts.
With genetics. Not even body parts, just your DNA.
Well, I'm trying to make it sound more Frankensteinish, which he is.
Oh, yeah, he could be compared to Frankenstein.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Evil
Frankenstein.
Yeah, and we put Proteus in this category too because he just liked chaos.
He
if I
is
remember
a
correctly.
stereotypical serial killer. Unstable.
He was.
He loves chaos. He's almost like in a way,
Ted Bundy.
Yes.
He's like the
some
Ted Bundy
like
of the
the
Gargoyles.
Joker from the DC Comics universe, but less prolific. He wants chaos and death in one, but not so much on a grand scale. Just whatever pleases him. He's your overpowered but stereotypical-minded serial killer.
And then our next category, we decided these were the guys who just made bad decisions. They had good intentions in mind, but everything just fell apart. So, of course, the captain of the guard is the first one. He definitely made a horrible decision by trusting Hakon. And, I always think that he had honorable intentions, even though it wasn't toward the humans, but he was trying so hard to fight for the rights of the gargoyles. And so he had good intentions, but it definitely made him more of that bad decision gray area villain.
Yeah, the consequences were not what he expected, and it just
went
so wrong.
And then also in this category, we put in the Emir from the Avalon tour in Egypt, Fenella, and then Yama from the Ishimura clan. We felt that the three of them, for different reasons, were tricked into believing that their actions would justify the means of what they were doing. And, they were fooled. Yeah, and I definitely feel that about Fenella.
It's just a shame that we never got to see until the comic books Yama getting some form of redemption. Because he really did meant good. It's just that you end up having to seek out a wrong source.
Right.
To
and
try to do that good what he thought was...
And I felt really bad for Fenella. I felt really pity for her.
Because she really did think Constantine loved her. She didn't really...
She was just a girl in love.
Yes.
Of the wrong guy.
It actually turns out that man was a monster. In my book, anybody who threatens babies, you're easily right there in the under the category of monsters. You you deserve horrible things that happen to you. And anybody who...
I'm not sure she fitted in the villains.
Justification to turn on you. Which is... especially after being cheated. So, yes. Mm-hmm. Agree. It feels bad for her.
And I agree with you, Carol. I don't think she's really a villain. She just made a bad decision, and she's redeeming herself for it, which you definitely see in the show, and then you see it continued in the comic books. She's still fighting the good fight with Mary.
Yeah.
Same thing. Love in a way is really if used as a tool just to use somebody, it can be a real disgusting, vile act. Of malice by another person who is used as and becomes the victim. Mm-hmm. And I feel that way is that somebody vanilla who was that victim earns that sympathy, and gladly she's able to make up for that by going against somebody like Constantine, who I had said earlier would easily become a monster by wanting to use the gargoyle eggs as leverage to keep everybody in line for him to seek power. Otherwise, he would destroy them. The eggs. Mm-hmm.
I think,
and even Demona herself too. She was being used by Thalog through some sort of sense of love. However twisted that was.
Awkward pause.
I'm sorry.
It should be cut.
That's okay. I was just looking at him like, that's really good for Constantine, but he's later on. We'll go over the dumbass bad guys quickly. We decided that they just needed a mention by name. No explanation needed. But...
yeah,
they're just toilet bugs that you like to squash every now and then.
So Dracon's at the top of our list. I know that he's quite unpopular in the Gargoyles universe. We also
put a slimy criminal who likes to just stick his nose into places that he shouldn't
with
be
his skunk hair.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so fun.
He doesn't know when to stop getting smacked around for being an idiot. Like, bro, he's definitely a step up from a Dracon. He's more of a terrorist, but yeah, he's still in the business of being a criminal, despite he likes to use more bombs and bullets in this case with him.
You just need a slap on his back head.
He's more aggressive, but he's still within category as being a dumbass. Definitely.
And then
Taro is just
Taro in there.
Taro is just a suit thug. He thinks he's really just hot stuff.
Yeah, hopefully we didn't need explanation for that.
Annoying SOB. That's all he is. A stupid SOB.
And then we have the followers, the ones who are led astray by a stronger influence. So we have Claw in there. He, of course, was influenced by Fang. And you could tell he was just very
timid. I mean, I can understand. I mean,
he's timid and he was uncomfortable. He can't speak. I'm pretty sure that was a side effect of his mutation. So he's just looking for somewhere to belong.
He's a gentle giant. Yeah, I know. It's just sad that he's so easily intimidated by a douchebag like Fang. That flea, that running mouth, that freak.
And then we also had the clones in this category.
You deserve that title, by the way. Unlike the rest of the mutants. Sorry. I just have a dislike for Fang. He's just so annoying. He's like going into my shoe.
But we also had the clones. They were heavily influenced, of course, by Demona and Thalog, and probably a little bit by Savarius, with their programming. And then we had Martin Hacker. I don't feel he's a bad guy.
Way.
Yeah.
He's more of a double agent. He serves both sides.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to try to maintain control within both the United States government as well as with the Illuminati. He looks after both sides. He's the eyes and ears for the Illuminati, while at the same time he wants to make sure everything runs as smoothly as it should, but not let the outside world discover the Illuminati's existence or get involved in its activities. So he's a mediator, but it all depends upon really which side that really is having some effect upon the world, Illuminati or his authorities that he serves in the real world.
Yeah, that sums him up. And then
and he
our
makes
next
sure he makes sure that in that case that through Bluestone keeps him under control by as an example that way by leading him astray. But when he proves himself, he allows Bluestone into the Illuminati.
I don't know if he made that executive decision, but yeah,
of course he didn't do that. But he was a representative that presented it to him. Like, hey,
right.
Prove yourself. The higher ups like you. Here you go. Here's a button. Welcome to the club.
Here's your pin. That's all you needed.
Just don't screw around too much. Or you end up like good old Mace Malone.
In the Hotel Cabal.
Mace Malone.
We do. He's in our next category of the ambitious. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have
the
Constantine
ambitious.
leading the pack there. He definitely had a thirst for power that wasn't easily quenched, and he, died under his misguided ideals.
Monstrous ambition, really. And like I said, whoever threatens babies, you deserve an ass kicking. That's just evil.
We also have the Archmage, who maybe while he lacked the intelligence of some of the other characters, he was definitely ambitious. He wanted his power. He wanted to, and the way I always viewed him, he always wanted to have that extra step of magic that would lead him into wealth and prosperity. Yeah.
He was your typical megalomaniac. More controlled, actually. He had everything all planned out. But he still had moments where he had, for example, of not just finishing up Goliath, he was slowly torturing him. As he said, he was just having too much fun.
Are you talking about more the future Archmage, or are you talking about
the future one? Yes, where he has all
the future
power
one, definitely
combined in one when he took over Avalon.
Right. We also put Duncan in this category, and I suppose quite a few of the Canmores would fall in here, but we decided Duncan was...
He died the same way as Duncan did. Boy, Duncan died horribly, but fittingly, too. Someone as scummy as him. Remember that black magic spell that I think... the
magic ball?
Yeah, I'm not sure who it was given to...
the Weird Sisters gave it to Macbeth.
Oh, it was Weird Sisters. Okay.
Yeah, the Weird Sisters
died horribly.
Yay, Weird Sisters. No, I don't know. See, they have their uses, Charles.
I know. I almost forgot about it, but still, that's just one example compared to all the rest.
I'm teasing you.
I know. I give them credit where it's due there, but still, the rest of the things they've done is like, really? You could have done so much better, but no. You have to be the opposite of Puck. Shame on you, 3. Why can't you like your brother?
What?
I was just saying, like, why can't they be like
you're talking about
brother?
The Weird Sisters. I thought you were asking Puck why he couldn't be like his brother, and I was like, Owen's not his brother.
No, you
okay.
Saying, why can't the Weird Sisters be like their brother? like Puck.
Because siblings are never alike.
I know. Just like my brother in real life, people back in school always say, why couldn't you be like your older brother, like me? Try to be friendly and nice. My brother was a hellraiser.
Well, the same could be said about Iago. Why couldn't he be like his brother? He's on our list of ambitious.
Good point.
So, see, at least you and your brother aren't like Iago and Othello.
No, he's not evil. He just likes to cause mischief. He has a godfather-like charm. He knows how to...
He knows how to work the system.
Yeah.
Well, so does
and
Iago.
If he can't do it, if the others can't do it for him, he can do it. And boy, he knows how to really pull the puppet strings.
And then the last two on our list were Dominic Dracon and Mace Malone. I don't think we have to.
He's a good brother, though. Trust me, he is a good brother. Otherwise, just putting it out there.
I'm sure he is. But I'm sure we don't have to talk too much about Dominic and Mace. They pretty much speak for themselves. And then our last category.
I agree.
We have the Revengeful, which this is almost a double category. We put Demona in here and Macbeth. Two characters, both driven by different types of vengefulness, even though Macbeth takes a different path later on. And then we put Gilcomgain in here because he is the original hunter. He wanted to find Demona and destroy her for what she had done to him. And that hatred passed on through the Canmore bloodline.
And I think also, too, on top of that, he knew how capable Demona is, who's been seeking for 1,000 years, wanting to try to do something to humanity in some shape or form. So he also had some sense of duty to try to put her down. In fact, maybe even try to, as well, being that they both share immortality, that only one can kill the other in order to achieve death, that by killing her, he could finally die. Well, she rather just, she would try to kill him, but it only hurts her, and she probably just wants to keep him alive for torment reasons.
Are you talking about Voldemort and Harry Potter?
That's the bullet.
Yeah, I know, I'm just teasing you.
I was never into Harry Potter. Sorry, all you Harry Potter fans out there. Yeah, I'm going to have millions of droves of angry fans. You don't like Harry Potter?
Your email box will be full.
So I guess there are so many characters we could have talked about, but well, we had to make some choices. But I think we kind of, managed.
The surface. And again, this is open discussion. If anybody has something they'd like to share, we are looking for that discussion, and you can put your comments on our Facebook page, Tumblr. If you're on DeviantArt, we're on there too. Yeah, or even on the website, and we will respond, or hopefully we can spark some friendly discussion. Again, emphasis on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So these were the Roaaar of the month, and I think, yay! So maybe now, Charles, you can talk about the fanfictions of the month.
I've been having this one to my heart for a long, long time. So much so that sometimes I even forget. But whenever I remember of it, it really just makes me wish that I could somehow, which finally I can now, do something about making this continued, or at least taken over by somebody else to have it completed, or at best have that person come back and able to do it where it's barely have been started on, which is a fan fiction, a crossover fan fiction, where I find is brilliant, just as along the lines of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with that of Gargoyles, but here in this case, which even more amazing, I'm sometimes even forget that this would work just as beautifully, is a crossover of Gargoyles and Jim Henson's The Labyrinth.
I love this movie.
Easily, just think about it.
I think that there are a lot.
The aspects of it is with the realm of the Fae and the Gargoyles universe, and then here, another one realm of goblins, which are almost similar, and ruled by the Goblin King, where you have Oberon, the king of all the Fae, which is godly-like beings in disguise of deities and spirits that we interpret in the mortal world. Here is all this, the lesser beings of fantasy, elves, goblins, trolls, and fairies, and whatnot. You get my understanding. That resides in in their own separate realm, ruled by a Fae himself, the Goblin King, Jareth. And who's everyone's favorite Fae of the Gargoyles universe? Puck. So put the two and two together, they could be, in a way, brothers. or distant brothers. And this story explores that very concept of having those two universes bond together, where, as we know from the story of the Labyrinth, that Jareth was bested by a human girl named Sarah when her baby was taken by the Goblin King to try to look for an heir as well as a queen to rule by her side. But
it was his little brother. Not
baby brother.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But she was able to outdo all his trickery, even the realm itself that he set up as one giant maze-like trap, and able to save her and save herself as well as her baby brother back to reality. This takes years. This takes place years later, where the Gargoyle universe has caught up, as we know in canon from the show, and Titania decides that there is an opportunity from some after some events in the Gargoyles universe where the Fae become more known by the Gargoyles, as well as some of the mortals, allies of the Gargoyles in the show, to play her hand in trying to make better influence for Jareth through using the Gargoyle universe to make finally things to go his way, where Jareth gets to go to the mortal world and makes a deal with Xanatos of some kind of plot, while gaining an alliance with Puck through Owen, and trying to see if that they could try to get this Sarah to finally, since she's old enough now at this point, she could definitely live on her own. Thus, why not then she'll be allowed to become, at this point, the queen without having to manipulate and blackmail her. Well, in the exchange is that for Puck helping Jareth out on this case, is Jareth who would try to find a way to get, as real, and most fans are, despite the whole concept of the Gargoyles universe having Elisa as a human, with Goliath being the gargoyle because of interrelationship of equality and respect. It still do some people like myself too. Still love the idea of Elisa being a gargoyle and wanting to grant that wish to be able to make both of them ultimately happy and live together as a gargoyle-mated couple. That's the main plot of the story. However, though, my friend, because the way her life has been going, where she doesn't have a computer of her own anymore, and I'm not too sure, tries to get by the past several years, and it only seems to be getting more difficult for her, that rarely ever get in contact with it, that fanfiction has all gone almost nowhere. But she has done pieces of art from time to time where she did have set up almost like stills for plans of what she was wanting to do with her story. And I was hoping by presenting her JesusIsMyHomie, which is the song is titled "The Unusual is Usually Usual," that you can be found on fanfiction.net, that somebody could try to see if they could help her out. Ask her, I could take over for her. She can try to somehow communicate how she done the setup, or somebody let her hand it over to somebody who wants to do it to finally bring about to fruition. I think really that this story deserves to be brought out, where she is unable to, but she tried to. It feels, again, it fits beautifully where these two universes of mythology can coexist, where you got your one favorite mystical creature that is almighty and powerful, that acts like an instigator. That's Jareth, the King and Goblin King, where he has another one he plays a little more on the sides, but still acts in the same way, despite he's not a ruler or anything. He's a trickster. But they both have similar personality and the way they go about handling things. And them working together will be quite interesting to see what would happen, especially to the point where they're saying it can bring one aspect to across on the other universe while another one into the other, influencing both their worlds. I would love to see that happening. Especially, how would bring about, make it work where make Lisa agree about becoming a gargoyle, whereas here you have Sarah would agree to become the Goblin King, give up her mortal world to live in the Fey world, the world of the goblins. And moving on to my next fan fiction, I'd like to present, which is another twist, but not a crossover. Definitely a big twist, though, is that Unwilling protected by Freelance and Fictioner on Fanfiction.net. It's a story that seems to almost it diverges. It tries to feel like it's become part of the maybe the comic book or cartoon. It feels almost like a more like a comic book from the way it starts off, but it definitely diverges into its own universe where it spins out that what happens is Demona ultimately, without giving it away, plot-wise, Demona experienced such an event that she is broken to the point where she now wants to seek redemption and start fresh over, wanting to rejoin a clan and become once again Goliath's lover. And there's a series of events where ultimately that she does, and as a result, there's consequences to that, resulting both with, of course, Elisa as well as Brooklyn having the past situations clashed between them two, but most of all, especially with Elisa now, with having Demona having to now really try to change things around and begin to come back in despite everything that is Elisa's witness from Demona, and even having to feel like being replaced in her position amongst the clan, especially being Goliath's lover. So it's a quite interesting read. There's even a sequel crossover to that, a sequel story to it, and a continuation afterwards. But my main focus was something like this that introduces that in this parallel universe. Even though it starts off with the main canon at the beginning of the wrecked on season 3 on the comic book. So, willing to, if you like to have a unique twist of reading things other than a crossover like that of JesusIsMyHomie is Freelance and Fictioner's Unwilling Protector. And that's, I like to pass on our topic to Fanarts.
Sure. Yeah. So this time in this fan art section, I decided to get a themed fan art session, and I decided to focus on redesigns that I found really interesting. So I picked like 3 of them, maybe more of 3, but you'll see what I mean. So I will. So first, I will talk about this one, which is Goliath by Monsterling, which is the nickname of Jacqueline A.X. Jockson. Well, on the website you find every links, and every links also of Charles Fanfictions.
Thank you.
As well. So so back to the monster. So here's Goliath from Monsterling, and she decided to, try. She wondered how it will render as a movie because, as anybody knows, Disney has this project. We still don't know at what point it is, but it was said. So Jacqueline just maybe try to do some research for a movie, and this is what she came with. So this Goliath dressed up as a Roman gladiator with a mace. How do you say that? The weapon?
Yes, called a mace. A Morning Star is the one where it has the spiked ball with the chain attached to a holding stick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So this is a mace, and you can see how I really like the powerfulness, the power of the wings, and how the wings are attached to the tail, which is, which is quite anatomically maybe more accurate. Maybe because I think that I've seen a lot of dragons like this. Maybe the pearl dragons, some some drawings of birds or maybe some movies dragons,
though, is how pointy
which
his
were
ears are. I know Gargoyle's ears are quite pointy, but it's really pointy. I mean, it's really outward. I mean, more pointy
I think
upward.
it's just an artist's
I know, it
choice.
just kind of throws
like
off a little less like a Goliath. But otherwise, the rest of it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Even though it's still Romanesque, it's always it would interpret Goliath as being Scottish, but it's a little bit interesting to see it in a Roman garb as well.
I think he looks a little bit like a World of Warcraft character, too.
I kind of thought like that, too, but...
I like it.
I don't
like
want to World of Warcraft and fans to start going crazy now. And start saying, oh, Gargoyle's now going to be in World of Warcraft. Like, no, don't do that. I know how if fans can be in that fandom.
If you have a closer look, he doesn't have horns.
He doesn't.
Either.
I wasn't sure about that
so
either. I wasn't sure if the
really,
horns are very little or there at all.
No, he seems not to have ones. So it's a redesign after all, you know. It's you can say it's Goliath, you can feel it's Goliath, but there are some details just to
Unique.
to make him for a movie. Yeah. And he's like T-Rex pose, you know, more like Gargoyles pose. If you see what I mean.
Do.
Yeah, so that was the first one I wanted to talk about. So it was, I forgot to mention that it was posted in December of 2012, so it's quite recent. And for the next one, I will talk about this one, which was made by Nebezial. I'm sorry if I'm just scotch your name, but it's Stjepan Sejic, who is from Croatia, and is a well-known artist who worked on Witchblade comics.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So
neither. Wow.
Yeah, he did. He did the second part of the comic book till the end, I think, if I remember correctly. So this Goliath was made in 3D in ZBrush, and this picture was posted on DeviantArt on March 2011.
No, you're
sorry. Okay. So this is also a try to render Goliath as it would be in the movie, so a development research. And you can still see it's Goliath. You can see the purple skin and the horns
very pronounced
this time, and the very very, and the hair, which is quite even more realistic but recognizable, and is a little bit more barbaric too, and more realistic, of course, because ZBrush can do marvelous things. Is realistic. So I really like the expression and the strength he gave to the character. If you can really look closer, you can see all the skin details and the
every wrinkle,
veins,
every blood vessel.
The veins,
the texture of the skin as well too. You can almost feel like you want to reach out and touch it.
Yeah. And I love the range of emotions. Like, you see his fierceness up top, but then you see more of the pensive, stoic leader, even a little bit of a wry smile on the last one. So you kind of see his sense of humor.
Uh-huh. And I like the fact that his lower jaw is pronounced. I think he's 2 on the character. I never really attach attention to that, but I think
Yeah.
I know the French word, but I don't know the English. Yeah.
On his profile, in the animated show, sometimes his bottom lip appears to be out a little more pronounced than his upper lip.
Yeah. It's kind of more primitive creature.
Not so primitive, more barbarian-esque, like brutish looking.
Yeah. And so the last one I wanted to show you guys is not from DeviantArt this time. I found it actually on the internet. It's a series of redesign actually, which were made by Zachary Berger. I hope I'm saying it right because well, it's like a French name. So this was meant to be a character design exercise for Art Center, and this is what he came with. So this is a redesign, so from several characters from the 90s Gargoyles. That was the pitch of the exercise, and he was asked to make them flatter and simpler, and had some animal resemblance. So he did Lexington, Broadway, Goliath, Xanatos, and Eliza. Yes. I always say Eliza.
I remember this one. I love this one.
Yeah, because it's just something you can feel it's them, but it's so completely different.
Right.
And well, it's really rich and interesting, and so you can see how Goliath is a mix of a lion and with a Pharaoh inspiration. Mm-hmm. So he kept his anatomy, the pose and the general silhouette, mm-hmm. but he's more lion type.
Yeah, he looks like a sphinx. Yeah.
And there are Broadway Lexington, so Lexington is like a bat monkey. A bat monkey with a soul fly. No, not soulfly.
Like a dragonfly wing.
Yeah, dragonfly.
And he's still the cutest one.
He seems like a little robot.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
And then
which perfectly suits him.
Robot. If he wasn't a gargoyle, he would be a robot.
Yeah. And I felt like Broadway was the most transformed. Mm-hmm. If you see it. Yeah, so he's more like a pig mixed with an elephant, mm-hmm. And maybe more. He's more like Kung Fu Panda style.
Yeah,
more,
he has more of a girth to him.
More maybe Asiatic, more Chinese. Mm-hmm. With if you can see his a piece
eyes.
Of cloth,
yeah,
piece of pillows, and he's more Asiatic. Yeah, more Chinese and. Maybe not the most impressive redesign. It's Eliza and Xanatos.
Right.
I think that they are less relevant, mm-hmm. impressive. Yeah.
I know. I think Elisa looks more stereotypical now.
Yeah, you can't say it's a typical an important character.
Right.
It's just like a character of the background. Mm-hmm. And Xanatos, well, it doesn't seem to be out of the mess.
No, he almost reminds me of Owen a little bit in this one.
Yeah,
and it looks like he has his little mob following in the background. I don't know if those were redesigns too.
Yeah. And so it's strange that in color the Xanatos is blonde hair. Mm-hmm. That's quite strange.
Yeah.
And this is a pretty old exercise because it was posted in 2008. I'm saying bullshit. 2009. It was posted in 2009, so it's like 3 or 4 years old. So I'm quite happy I fell on this while I was searching for this podcast because it's not on DeviantArt and not on my provider, usual provider. So I'm glad I found it. So I hope you liked it as well as I did.
I did. I loved this one when you sent the link. This was the most unique. I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. So that was my part, and I think that we now welcome our guest for the interview.
For our interview.
So, Lisa, maybe we should introduce our guests.
Yeah, I can do that. Okay, so today we are talking with Gilly Hathaway, and we're very excited to have her on our second show today. Say hi,
Very
Gilly.
excited to be here.
Yay. Hi, Gilly.
And to start, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit of introduction?
I'm an artist, kinda. I do a lot of freelance work. I do a webcomic. I do the art for a webcomic called Knit Princess. Keeps me limber artistically. Yeah, a lot of commission stuff. I love doing fan art. If I could make a living off of just doing fan art, I totally would.
We all do.
That's awesome.
Wouldn't that be the best?
Yeah. Sure.
Then I would be in even further envy of everybody who can draw. Because you guys would have the best jobs ever.
It's true. It would be the best job ever.
Well, thank you for that, and that did not suck, don't worry. How did you discover Gargoyles? Were you just flipping through the channels one day, or?
Actually, if you guys remember a Goofy movie, we rented the VHS, and my family and I were watching it, and in the previews beforehand was the very first teaser for Gargoyles, and my mom turns to me and goes, "We have to watch that."
Oh.
And
Awesome.
so we did. And it just, I'm trying to, like, because it was on every day after school, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep, I remember, like, running home from school. I think I was in 7th grade, and I ran home every day just so I could watch that.
I just remember that's what I watched. I remember, I think I tried to write fan fiction about it in 6th grade for the Young Authors Contest. I remember, I just remember watching it. I remember a couple instances where, like, there was a new episode on, and we'd been out sledding all day, and I was trying really hard to get out of my snow clothes so that I could sit down and watch Gargoyles, and my mom kept going, "Gilly, pick your stuff up off the floor, hang it up, Gilly." I'm like, "No, I want to watch." She's like, like, left a mess everywhere because I'm so
First commercial break, I promise.
yeah, right? Well, I don't even think I had that mental capacity. I was just like, "No, Gargoyles!" Yeah, and just, like, I never tried to draw it, which was, I mean, I've been drawing for forever, but I never felt like I could do it justice. It wasn't until, the first DVD set came out when I was in, I was in my first year of college. What was that? 2006? No. 2004.
I think it was 2004 when it was released.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly 10 years after, the show had come out. And it was like, "Oh, right, Gargoyles, I loved this." And then I started trying to draw it, and I was like, "Oh, okay." But I don't think for 10 years there, I just didn't, because I was like, "No, I suck. I'll draw it when I get better."
Did you have a favorite character, or do you remember having a favorite episode that as soon as you saw it, you were like, that was the hook? Or
Elisa is my favorite by far. I love Elisa. I wanted to move to Manhattan, which I didn't realize was New York City when I was and be a detective. I used to put on my jeans and my black t-shirt and my cowboy boots and walk up and down my street pretending that I was Elisa Mazza. But that was my life goal, was to become Elisa Mazza. So yeah, she's definitely my favorite character. And I shipped her and Goliath before I knew what shipping was. Didn't even know I shipped it. I was just like, yeah, they belong together. It was just a given that they were going to be together forever.
right? Yeah.
But no question. This is what is going to happen. Their relationship. I was just like, yeah, woo!
I remember reading, like, it was one of the first fan fictions where somebody tried to put Goliath back with Demona, and I was just angry, like, and
This is so wrong.
Yeah, I was like, this cannot happen.
How dare you?
Yes, I don't care if this is a well-written story. It's never happening. I'm not reading this.
As far as favorite episodes go, there are many. The Mirror, I think, is probably one of the first favorites.
And there are some episodes when you remember exactly when it was and what you were doing and where you were when you first saw them.
Oh yeah, I had a videotape that I would record as many episodes as I could.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
During the Avalon arc, when it was part, like I hit the end of the tape and I couldn't figure out why it hadn't recorded, and my mom was like, "Gilly, you're at the end of the tape. There's no more." I was like, "No!" And I was in a panic. I was like, "How am I gonna know what happens?" And I don't think it was until the DVD came out that I actually finally found out what had happened.
Oh, okay.
Well, it was like, the VHSs and everything were so hard to come by. You know, it's not like today where you can watch it on Hulu or Netflix and or stream it live later on or what have you.
Yep.
If you missed an episode,
you were sunk. Yep.
And it was very depressing. I remember the power went out during what's the name of the episode where Thanatos kidnaps Hudson to use his stone skin and test him out with Cauldron of Life?
The Price, I think.
Yes.
Yep.
I was watching it with my little brother, and the power went out right before Owen stuck his hand in the cauldron.
Oh no!
I was livid. I was like, no! We were like throwing pillows around and like beating each other up. I think my little brother was just like riding my waves of anger. I don't think he cared that much, but I was that.
And then I suppose you watched the next episode with Owen, and you were like, what happened to his arm?
Yeah, I remember being so upset.
Yeah, the mirror seems to top the list for a lot of people. That's the kind of episode that everybody wishes for in any kind of series where they do a swap of some sort. Because it's just, it's seeing how the other half lives. And Elisa would make a totally kick-ass gargoyle, so. Yeah. Yes, she would.
Did.
Yes, she did. I mean, she adapted very quickly, and I don't know, I know they had to do it because they were pressed for time, but I like to think that she had the skills where she would have adapted to that lifestyle easily. So, I don't know. I ship them too.
And of course, there's the Goliath Chronicles episode where Goliath becomes a human and he's white.
Yeah.
What? What? I remember being 12 and watching the Goliath Chronicles and going, what the hell happened to this show?
Oh, I know it.
And of course, I wasn't really on the internet then, so I was like, I didn't know that they booted Greg and all the stuff that went down. I just knew, I was like, oh, this is, this is not as good. Not as good.
Yeah, I honestly didn't know they had booted Greg until later either. And then I didn't know that he had done the Journey, the very first one. So yeah, that was an eye opener.
I don't even think I saw the Journey when it first ran, because like when I went back and rewatched it later, it was I watched that episode and it was totally new. But I remembered other ones like A Bronx Tale and other ones.
Yeah. I remember the only one they never seemed to show very often was the one with Demona, because that was the one that I had missed. And everybody, by this time I was online and people were talking about this episode, and it's like, hey, Demona finally shows up. And by the time I finally saw that episode, I was so disgusted with it, just because it was so out of character. But that's a whole soapbox that I could go on about forever, so.
Right? Pretty much try not to think about the Goliath Chronicles.
I know, they just need to be buried somewhere.
Ugh. It's almost worth not having them come out with the rest of the DVDs. Only not really.
Right.
just so that they won't put out Goliath Chronicles. You know what? Disney are such jerks that that's probably what they do. They'd be like, oh, you want the second half of season 2? Too bad. You get the Goliath
You
Chronicles.
get the Goliath Chronicle.
Take an even bigger dump on the fans.
That would be our luck.
Remember, I kept hoping the second set of DVDs would come out, and it never did. And that was
I know. I have a friend in England, and I finally got him hooked on the show a little bit, to the point where he bought the set of DVDs that are available. And you know, he's like, well, where's the second set? You know, you guys deserve it. And I said, you know what's going to happen is the 25th anniversary, which I think is next year, maybe I'm wrong, 20th anniversary. And I said, you know what's going to happen is they're going to release the third season. And it won't
Don't say that!
I know, but I was like, it won't be the third season that people want to see.
They would so do that, too. I can see it happening. I'm already mad about it. God, has it coming up? Oh my God, 20 years. Next year.
Isn't that crazy?
20.
My mind is blown.
It makes you want to take a nap or something just so you can kind of forget that it's been 20 years, but...
Right? My childhood, it was 20 years ago.
Have you ever been part of a fan clan or like a Gargoyles role-playing game? We've seen a few of those pop up online.
Not really. I kind of participated in these live journal blogs that Revulo and Detaina set up.
Okay.
That was based off of their RPG, and I participated. I was Elisa.
Awesome.
But just briefly, but it was the whole story was just so not my cup of tea, because it was Thalog had gotten Goliath pregnant, and they were secreted away in a chateau in Switzerland, and Elisa was angry in New York, and it was just like, I just can't do this. I'm sorry. So I just kind of petered out on that.
I have never seen that one, I have to admit. I followed the Formstream one, or the Formspring. It's Forspring?
Ask Brooklyn?
On Tumblr, I followed that one, but there's one where like, I think it's Greg Baskansky and a few others, they're the characters on Formspring.
Oh.
I'll have to send you the link to that sometime.
Yeah,
it's actually amusing to watch. I mean, they have everybody, and they've even incorporated the Spectacular Spider-Man. It's really cool.
I love you, Greg.
Yes. Ingenious. Well, what is your story as an artist? You know, is that something you always wanted to do? I'm assuming yes, but what brought that into your life?
I just kind of always have drawn in some capacity or another. My mom draws, and is very talented. I always wanted to be as good as her. That wasn't really like the goal, but it inspired me to draw, and so I just kind of always have. And of course, you know, you get into fandom, and that just kind of brings on a whole new different kind of inspiration. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you go to a special school or?
I did costume design for a little while in college because I thought I wanted to do fashion design, which turns out I don't. So I did costume design, which led to fashion design, and then when I finally figured out that, oh no, I don't really want to do fashion design, I took a bunch of different art and figure drawing classes and some comic classes at FIT, which is the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Spent 3 years in New York, and every time I looked up in the sky, I was like, I wonder if I'll see a gargoyle. Ever hopeful. Never happened. I was way bummed.
No, I know.
Or Ninja Turtles. I was hoping I'd get mugged so the Ninja Turtles
So the Ninja Turtles could rescue you. I understand.
Yes. I have a question. Excuse me, Lisa. I just saw that it's not on the list, but I just ask it. I saw that you are really into traditional media, you know, markers and drawings, and maybe more than digital, and which is it a preference or just that you don't like digital or?
No, I like digital. I need to learn how to do more with the digital, because with traditional media, I'm terrible at painting. I have no patience. You're supposed to wait for certain periods of time, let things dry, and I always wind up screwing stuff up that way. So markers have always been the perfect alternative. I went to Japan when I was 16, in 2002. And we went into an art store, which I think is probably the first time I'd ever been in an actual art store, because I'm from a pretty small town in Wyoming. We have a little art store, but it's, it's very small. This was like an art store, and I was really into the anime and the manga, so it had like the pens and the markers and the artist boards, everything that I'd ever dreamed of and never seen. And I bought a set of Copic markers, which pretty much wiped out all of my pocket money for the trip, but worth it. And they were so awesome, and they were so hard to get, and I made them this set last for so long. And until I got old enough where I actually had like my own debit card and I could go online and purchase more. And then I found out they're refillable, which I didn't know for like 10 years. And I just kind of started collecting them, and I love the way they look, and you can do so much fun stuff with them, and I always kind of felt like they looked very watercolor-y, which I always liked watercolor, and since I can't paint, this was a nice alternative.
I'm always afraid to use my markers. I have some Copics too, and I'm just so afraid to use them.
They're kind of hard to control.
Yeah.
They do bleed a lot. I think it helps if you work bigger. But I work really small, so.
I know that with darker colors, I have troubles, to find the different tones and the light and dark, and with light tones it's much easier. But I don't know if it's a problem of just color that I don't have, or just a method. I don't know. I still don't know.
Yeah, I try to watch tutorials, but
yeah, me too.
I would love to. There's something that I want to actually watch, like, these artists that use them and see how they do it, like, in person, and just kind of study their method, because I think that would help bring a lot away.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Pick up some tips.
I bought some Copics too, just because I wanted to teach myself. Like, I used to dabble with, more of the markering and everything. And you're absolutely right. They are so hard to control that every time I use them, all I can think is, where are my cheapo Crayolas? Because I just feel like, it's like you put in a little detail and the next thing you know, the character has like a black eye or something.
Oh, yeah, God. Well, you gotta get inks that are Copic proof, which isn't always 100%, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I've discovered here recently are Pit Pens by Faber-Castell.
Oh, okay.
They're pigment. I think they're. Where are mine? I don't know where anything is. Got them right here. I can read off the label. Open. What? Okay. They come in a brush, and it's kind of a brush tip, but they're this pigmented ink. I think is it India ink, waterproof, high light fastness, acid free, and they're just beautiful colors. And they've got a huge variety of them, and they're gorgeous. And I've kind of been collecting them lately.
Okay. I think I have them. I have them in my. Yeah. But I never used them. As for
I worked in an art store in New York, and one of the gals, she swore by them, and I saw some of her work, and it was just gorgeous, and the things she did with them, just incredible. very vibrant colors, and I need to do more experimenting with them so I can get a better sense of what they can do.
I remember I learned a little tip, maybe I can give you that. It's, you can draw your first drawing with some red color rays, and you color it with your markers as you do, but you're doing your lines at the end with some color pencils. And it's, when you ink your outlines in black, it's very harsh, it's very cold, and with this technique, it's a little bit more organic, I found. Maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to try that. Thank you. So you use a red color race, you said?
Yeah, a red color race, and it's much better for the skin, for example.
Nice. I'm making notes.
Just a little tip between artists.
Next time I make it down to the art store, I have to pick up. Like, ooh, I should try this. I have so many art supplies. I worked in an art store for over a year, and I don't think I've even touched half of what I bought. I was just like, ooh, this would be fun, and this would be fun, and I've just got drawers of discount art supplies.
Do you ever notice that when you work a type of retail, you really don't bring home your paycheck? Like, every time that something comes in, you're like, I'm getting that first before they sell out.
Yeah, I don't know how I survived in New York, because I seem to recall a lot of my money going into my rent and my art store.
Your art store.
My art store. I work at Starbucks now, and it's a good thing that while we're on the job, we get free drinks, or I would be poor.
So what do you think about the Gargoyles fandom as a whole? Were you pretty excited, when you found out there were so many other fans out there?
Yeah, well, like I said, I really didn't join the fandom until I was, until I got on DeviantArt, which was only 5 years ago. Only 5 years ago. Oh my god. And I was like, oh my god, there's so much great Gargoyles artwork out there, and there's so many great people. Oh my god, people like to talk about gargoyles?
A dream come true.
Well, some of my friends were like, yeah, I enjoyed Gargoyles, but they weren't fans like I was. Mm-hmm. And I actually did get to meet Crazy Demona, Jen, this past summer, and I wish we lived closer, because we would totally geek out about Gargoyles and Supernatural all the time. But Revulo and I don't know if I'm saying her handle right, and Detina, they kind of took me under their wing. I was just like, your guys' art is so great, and I'm gonna stuck you on DeviantArt, and they were so great about it, and full of fun facts, and I think it was them that led me to ask Greg and the Gargoyles wiki and all of that, and I just I fell in with them, and they just kind of helped me thrive.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I'm so, I told you, I'm kind of shy by nature, so it's I had to stumble into everything on my own. So that's awesome. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we had talked to Corrine about that, Corrine Charlebois, Canthara, about how, growing up for us, we were in such small areas, you almost felt like an outsider for liking this show. There were people who were like, I watch it, but yeah, like you said, you just want to geek out. There's so much to talk about. But yeah, you've never been to a gathering, neither have we. We understand.
We'll bring it back.
Yes.
We'll do.
That's what we need to do. We need to all band together.
That'd be awesome.
Have you thought about maybe doing any future Gargoyles drawings? I know you're into the Supernatural and the Jurassic Dresden, which I saw on your DeviantArt page, and I thought that looked really fun.
I always want to do more Gargoyles art, and I always sit down to do it, and it just so often it just doesn't come out the way I want it to, and I feel like I can't draw a Goliath worth crap, and all I want to do is draw Goliath and Elisa together forever, and I can't draw Goliath. I can draw Elisa. I love Goliath's nose. I'm like, oh, I can draw his nose. And then the rest kind of looks like, I don't know, he looks Cro-Magnon Man, and I don't know. So, I always want to draw more, but I'm so bad about it. Yeah. There will be more in the future. It's just kind of debatable as to when and how.
That's understandable, and you're busy. We totally understand, so.
Last year, I wanted to take a bunch of prints with me to the convention. I was like, I should have something gargoyles, and I cranked out this really crappy drawing of Demona as a last minute thing to bring along, and I just I had prints made and they're in my closet. I don't think I sold a single one of that one in particular, and I just every time I look at it I'm like, yeah. It's so basic because I just tossed it out so fast. It was like, why did I even bother? This is a waste of time and money.
I
wanted to draw was a really great drawing of Elisa and Goliath together, but that didn't happen.
It happened. I truthfully love your little, they're almost like the chibis, the round characters that you put.
The egg babies.
Yeah, the egg chibis. I love those. I saw those on your DeviantArt, and then I saw them on your Etsy, and I pointed them out to my husband, so I'm hoping to pick up a couple here in the future.
Well, I still have some extras, so maybe I will just send you some.
Oh, that would be so sweet. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there a piece of art that you're the most proud of? It doesn't have to be gargoyles. It can be anything that you've drawn where you just look at it and you're like, yeah, that was my art.
Oh, these days, not so much. I know. Well, yeah, good question. I don't know if you saw the pen case that I did, the gal with the wings and the pink and the purple. I posted it. I've been posting so much on Tumblr lately. I never post anything on my DNR. I'm like, why do we have to update multiple things?
I learned how to use Tumblr just so I could follow everybody because it seemed like that's where everybody has flocked to.
Yeah. I had a gal at work. We were standing and talking, and we were geeking. We were talking about Iron Man or something, and she looks at me and she goes, "You have a Tumblr, don't you?" And I'm like, I can tell. Totally random, and it just kind of came out, and it
wow.
when it was effortless and it actually looked good. I think that's probably what I'm most proud of these days.
That is
drawing more pen cases.
That is awesome.
Yeah, looks terrific.
And want to draw wings. Gargoyle wings, angel wings. Love drawing wings. Just need an excuse. I need an excuse. So just draw wings. I used to have this theory, and this was Gargoyles related. I was like, I don't know how I was going to get wings and a tail, but I was going to have wings and a tail, and I would go to school and I would hide them. I would wear a duffel bag on my back to hide them. I was such a little kid.
No, you weren't. Have you ever read, it's by James Patterson, oh my gosh, I just finished it, but it's the books about the kids with wings, and they cover them with, windbreakers. They wear jackets all the time, and apparently nobody notices. So see, you could have been in there.
Yeah, I think a windbreaker would be far less obvious than a duffel bag on my back. It worked in my mind. Actually, have you guys heard of Anton Strout? He's an author, and he wrote kind of a gargoyle kind of book. No. It's called Alchemistic, and it's about this gal that lives in New York, and she has a stone gargoyle as a protector.
That's awesome. I haven't heard about these.
And it's which the whole concept was just really interesting to me. He's coming out with this. It was cute. And of course, I'm like trying to make it within the Gargoyles universe in my head, which really should be kind of like, yeah, Gargoyle. He's a great guy.
That's awesome. I'm going to look into that. We have a gentleman on our Facebook page, and I'm going to pull up his. He wrote a book recently, and I can't think of his name, but he also based it on the Gargoyles. Oh, Eric Anderson. I'm going to send a link for that one, too. I haven't checked out his book, to be perfectly honest. I probably shouldn't say that because I'm being recorded, but I intend to at some point. Let me send out his...
It's hard to find time to read.
I
I know.
Yeah.
It was easy when I was in New York because I rode the subway for 2-3 hours a day, and I did a lot of reading, and now I actually have to drive myself, so there's no reading for me.
I know, and it's like the audiobooks just don't count.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, if it's well done, but like, I listened to the Hunger Games audiobook, and the gal they got to read it, she sounds way too old to be reading for Katniss. It just, they should have gotten somebody younger sounding. Mm-hmm. It was just, and it just kind of ruined the whole experience.
That stinks. I think that Morgan Freeman and Keith David should just narrate everything, so.
And Paul Bettany, too.
I wonder if I could, proposition that. You're making something that needs narration. Here are two gentlemen, and you should have one of them.
If not both.
If not both.
A narration off.
Yes. Let's see. Do you have any comments or shout-outs to your followers? I definitely think you should plug your convention and let them know to come to your table. But do you have any others?
Denver Comic Con. It's May 31st through June 2nd here in Denver, Colorado, down at downtown off the 16th Street Mall at the Denver Convention Center. They've got Stan Lee coming this year, which was the big announcement at the end of last year's con, so that's going to be pretty sweet. And George Takei. Yay! So fancy Takei. And I'll be sitting in Artist Alley at booth B14. I'll be doing commissions and selling Jurassic Dresden shirts, and bookmarks and buttons and prints, and anything else I can dig up in the next, what do I have, 2.5 weeks? Oh my god, I have so much to do. I'm so on the fence as to what to do about prints because I don't feel like I have anything that I want to bring as prints, but I've got a bunch of bookmark stuff. Things that make great bookmarks. Yay! Well, last year, I did my bookmarks and they were way more expensive to make than the prints because I had them laminated in rounded corners and they were so fancy pants. And this year I'm I'm going to tone it down a bit.
Right.
I can have more made and sell more of them, hopefully. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and followers, people follow me. Thank you.
We do follow you.
I'm really excited about the Jurassic Dresden t-shirts actually, because the design is the Dresden Files by Jim Butcher, which is another book series that is fantastic. Really, it's urban fantasy detective novel kind of thing. About Harry Dresden. He's a wizard and he lives in Chicago. And in one book, he reanimates a T-Rex and rides a zombie T-Rex through the streets of Chicago.
Whoa.
So I took the Jurassic
cool
Park.
Is that?
Yeah. And somebody did this great artwork of it. It's fantastic, and it says the Dresden Files. Yeah, it's pretty much like this all the time, and it is. It's always that epic. Every new thing Jim comes out with, I'm like, how is he gonna top it next? And he does, and it's oh my god, Jim, you were just stop. I mean, don't stop, but. So I've had this design going in the works for 2 years now, and I'm selling them as T-shirts at Denver Comic Con. I'm really excited about it. That's the big thing I'm pushing this year, and I'm hoping that they sell well because I've kind of put myself in the hole for them.
Oh no!
It's all good. We'll be fine.
Do you have any suggestions for our podcast? I know that will probably put you on the spot, but we always like to get a little feedback too. And just anything that comes to mind, or you can always note us later.
Have you guys talked to Jen, Crazy Demona? She's been my gargoyle buddy for a while now. She's a wealth of knowledge and just totally gung-ho about the fandom and gargoyles in general.
Not yet, but she's on our interviewees list.
Yes, she is.
Good, because she's great, and she's so nice. She's hilarious. I love Jen. I really wish that we lived in the same vicinity so we could hang out all the time.
I see some of the comments that she'll leave on different, like the Facebook groups, and she seems like she's hilarious. Like, she seems like someone you could just sit down and like have a cup of coffee with and just talk for hours.
Oh yeah, you totally can. Jen's great.
Well, and okay, I'm going to go total geek. So my husband is very dark complexion with dark hair, and I'm a redhead, and my baby is a redhead. So we're totally doing the Xanatoses for Halloween. I said that we're putting, we're going to put him in like a little gargoyles costume.
I want photos. I want photos.
Oh, there will be photos. I'm going to attempt to do the fox tattoo on my eye, and my hubby is just going to wear a suit, so.
You know, I always wondered about that. Is it a tattoo or is it a birthmark?
See, I think it's a tattoo.
I think it's...
I think I read on...
She's got...
I know, she's got balls of steel to have a tattoo put there.
Or just a weird makeup thing or something like that.
Yeah. I know, when she was in the pack, I thought that it was just makeup, and then after her TV show ended and she still had it, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my master plan for Halloween.
That's awesome. I love it. I always, like, I used to think about how I would do a gargoyle's costume,
Right.
as a kid, and I never did.
Mm-hmm.
I always decided I'll just be Elisa, because Elisa's awesome.
There you go.
If she's a human, it's easier.
My brother was young enough when this series came out. He was like 5. So he got to wear the Goliath costume from the Disney store. And I was so jealous. It's like, I realize that I'm too old for trick-or-treating, and I realize I'm just taking you trick-or-treating, but I want your costume.
Yeah, right. Aw, that's so cool. I seem to recall being envious of my little brother because, not that he did, but because I seem to recall seeing it and being like, oh, he could. He could. I was like, and I wanted to be able to, but I'm too big.
Yep, exactly. So I was able to influence my brother, and one year I got him to do the Darkwing Duck costume, and then and then I got him to do the Gargoyles costume.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's so awesome.
The things we do to our siblings, right?
I was looking through one of my memory books here more recently, and on one of the pages I had gargoyles napkins and temporary tattoos that I guess I used at a birthday party that I don't remember. And I was like, oh my god, how do I not remember this? This was probably like way epic for me.
I was just saying it was probably an epic moment.
My mom got me gargoyles napkins for my birthday.
I remember I was in the hospital once when I was younger, and one of the male nurses, he found out that I was a Gargoyles fan, and it turned out he was too. Like, he was probably, he seriously wasn't even that old, but he was probably the oldest fan I'd ever met. You know how you feel at that age.
Yeah. Like, everybody's so old.
Yes. And he actually brought me one of the temporary tattoos from the cans of SpaghettiOs.
Oh!
I think I was in love.
That's so awesome. I love it. That's the first forays into fandom, learning that there's other people who are fans of all different ages and sexes and...
Right. Yeah, it totally opened my eyes, and it was like, hey, I'm not the only one who gets this show.
Yeah. Or even like that. I always felt like such a weirdo because it wasn't until more recent years that I actually met actual Gargoyles fans in real life. You know, I'd spoken to people on the internet, and I knew they were out there, but nobody that lived in in your area or was in my circle of friends was a Gargoyles fan the way I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, so it's just all of a sudden have that. I was like, oh my god, my mind is blown.
I know the feeling because, you know, in France it's very, very confidential. You know, the only fans, hardcore Gargoyles fan I met were the one I made, the Clan of Paris. So it was, I did some conventions, and I was trying to sell some postcard with Goliath and Demona, and there were so many people who just passed by and said, "Oh, Gargoyles, I remember, I loved it when I was a kid," and just went away, and I was just
Come back.
and I never found other French people who were fan like me, and it was just on the internet, and thanks to the internet, meeting some US friends, and this is when I just felt less alone with my craziness about Gargoyles, because it was, even to my parents, it's just so weird, you know. I'm 30 and I still love cartoons and Gargoyles, which is, well, you know, it's time to pay the bills and grow up. But no, no, I do.
Yeah, no.
Please, no.
I feel there's certain aspects that you never get rid of.
Nor should you.
Right.
No.
No, I'm actually envious that you have met people in person, because I still have not in my area. So
Aww.
I know, it's sad.
Well, we'll have to pick a convention that we can all go to and meet up.
Oh, I would love that. I really would. Do you have any questions for us? I put all three of us, but Charles isn't here, of course. But any questions for us about, you know, upcoming shows or just anything in general?
I have no idea.
I know that's like the part of the interview that everybody hates, you know, like the dog do. So how do you...
I'm terrible about thinking of questions to ask. When did you guys decide you wanted to do this podcast? I mean...
Oh, a long time ago.
Yeah, we actually had this set up last year, in March of 2012.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep, one of our founder, she's not with us anymore due to school. It's really sad. She just had too much on her plate.
Yeah.
But she launched this group, and she wanted to do the podcast. And I think it was after there was a proposed convention that NARC, I think was the acronym, North American Retro Comic Convention, something like that. And they had been trying to get some of the Gargoyles fans and some of the Gargoyles contributors, you know, like hopefully Greg Wiseman, I think Frank Parr, they were maybe trying to get, and then all of a sudden it just didn't happen. And so she got fired up, and she started this group, and one of the ideas was the podcast. And I think I have that right.
Yeah. She founded the GA group, the Gargoyles Reawakening, and we just wanted to find an idea just to pop up and to wake up the fans, because it was quite dormant and non-living anymore.
Yeah.
And we found this. There are some friends of mine who did the same with My Little Pony, and I found it very interesting. And I just wondered why couldn't we do the same with Gargoyles, because we have so much to say and so much to share, and it just came out like this, and we took time to meet and know each other, and yeah.
Yeah, we kind of built a rapport with each other, and then we launched our first one in March of this year.
Yeah.
So it's kind of our anniversary.
That's so cool. Yeah, I feel like I see less and less Gargoyles anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes me sad. I'm like, no, keep it going. And which is why I'm like, I need to draw more Gargoyles stuff.
And I mean, that was kind of our thought too. It was just getting so dormant, and you know, we wanted our voices heard. I understand that, you know, the common folk can't always you know, make things happen, but we really wanted to get the DVD release, you know, and we just wanted to see the fandom stay alive, if nothing else, because, you know, it was an important part of, I think, many people's childhoods, and
they'll always have the fond memories of the show. So if we can kind of trigger that and then get it moving forward,
I think that's great. You guys are so awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks. I think that it was just important for our lives in general. I think they don't realize that for me it was important for my evolution, my personal evolution. It gave me I really wanted to do animation because of Gargoyles, because of Beauty and the Beast and such a thing like that. But because of Gargoyles, it just changed a lot of things in my life, and I just couldn't let it die like that.
No, I couldn't either. It really was a big part of my sense of self. I was very shy when I was a child. I was very sick when I was a child, so I wasn't able to do a lot of things out of doors some days. And so to have that kind of fandom that I could, almost relate to, it was like kind of an acceptance thing, I think. I mentioned that a lot. But, you almost start to relate with these characters, and, that might sound weird to a non-fan, but,
yeah,
it really was a sense of self. They kind of taught me, you don't have to be like everybody else, to be
it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we're done. We don't have any more questions to ask.
But I think we are coming to an end. Is there anything either of you would like to add?
Not that I can think of.
No, I'm
Carol,
good.
You good?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we can probably end the recording then. Thank you so much for being on the show with us, Gilly. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored.
Well, we were very, very excited when you responded and you said you wanted to do it. Like, seriously, we had fangirl moments. Like, yay, she's going to be on with us. So.
You guys are going to give me a big head.
But yeah, we really appreciate it, and we hope maybe we can have you on again sometime. We'd love it.
I would like that. I would like that a lot.
So, well, thank you for having us, following us, and see you for the next time. Thank you, Gillian, for the interview, and I hope that you will enjoy the show.
You're welcome. Thank you guys so much for having me, and I'm definitely going to enjoy the show. Keep me posted on updates and whatnot.
Definitely. We'll have it posted on our Tumblr, and we'll put it on the DeviantArt and
everywhere.
Facebook. Yes. And Twitter. We're everywhere.
Too many social media sites.
I know. I wish I could just condense them all, but... And then they'll come out with a new one.
Yeah. Ugh.
So guys, this is the end. Thanks a lot for having listened to this second podcast, and I'm telling you, see you next time for the next one. Bye bye.